Today we're going to play a game called Space Stealer. In Space Stealer, we're going to be merchants traveling around a solar system, dropping off goods that we have generated with our mines, and all of this is going to take place in real time as we, over the course of 30 minutes, are frantically flipping these little egg timers and then staring at them and watching the sand run out slowly so that we can do it again and take that next action in our sequence of things that we're trying to do to score points. So we're going to set it up, talk about it, and then play it for you. So enjoy. Space Stealer takes place over the course of 30 minutes in real time. The game includes a CD that I couldn't get to play a music track, but it says plays a 30-minute music track. It also has the rules in a video in German, so if that is helpful to you, you could watch that video instead of this one. Here we have all the components for Space Stealer. A lot of this is not going to be relevant to you because the game plays 3 or 4 players, but if you have 2 sets, it'll play up to 8. So in the base box, you have a lot of components that are only relevant to that 5 to 8 player game. Half of your wooden components, we've got all the color wooden pieces that we need for all 8 players. You're also going to notice that you have this collection of connecting pieces that have different numbers on the backs of them. Those are indicating the player count at which you're going to use those pieces to construct your playing area. You will want to split out your cards into the 4 different decks. And with deck 1, you're going to divide those up between your different players. Each of them is going to end up with 1 reactor, 1 depot, and then 3 of the 4 different colored mines. Each player is going to take a ship in a particular color. Each of these ships is double-sided for the 8-player game, so they have 1 color on one side and then 1 color on the other. And then each of them have matching wooden token pieces. So just pick a color and take one of those ships. Each player is going to get 2 of these black timer pieces. We also have some white timer pieces that we might see come into the game. Each player is also going to get a pair of these pieces for constructing their home board. And then you have 4 double-sided planet boards. These are also double-sided so that when you have 8 players, each player has a different planet, different colors. So setting up our starting areas, we'll go ahead and move our box here out of the way. Each player gets 2 of these pieces and then is going to take 1 planet. And those just lock in like that. So over the course of the game, this is going to be your individual player area. On it, we've got this symbol for a sand timer. Anywhere we see this symbol, that's going to mean that we have the ability to put one of our sand timers there to take some kind of an action. In this case, on our home board, it's to go up this little research track here, which tells us which deck of cards we can take cards from. So at the start, we can only take our deck 1 cards that we started with, and then we can move up to get to 2, and then up to 3, so that we can draw cards from these decks to get more powerful versions of the deck 1 cards. Each player is also then going to want to find the matching piece that is their home planet. This is going to be part of us building this playing area as we take pieces. So if we were doing a 3-player game, we'd use these ones, and then we just lock them together to build our board. So I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead to having built that board for you so we can see what a 3-player game looks like. Okay, so here we have a 3-player setup that I've put together for you. I've kind of compressed these sides down a little bit so that we could fit it on camera so you can see what we're doing. Each player is going to construct their little starting area with their planet. Everybody's going to get their deck of starting 1 cards. Everybody should have 2 generators. So here's my other generator, which later on I'm going to construct here so that I can power this white and yellow power area, so that I can build cards in these slots. In the 2 deck, I'll be able to upgrade generators so that they also produce orange power. In the 3 deck, I'll be able to upgrade those satellites to fusion reactors, so that I can also power a red module out here on the far sides. We're each also going to have 3 out of the 4 different colors of mine. So here I've got red, yellow, green. There is also a blue one. And we're each going to get 1 depot, a place for us to put cubes that get produced by our mines. At the start of the game here, we have 1 generator that has already been built, and we're each going to choose 1 of our 3 mines to build. So I'm going to go ahead and say I'll build this green one. I put it face down so nobody knows which one I'm building, and my opponents have also placed theirs face down. We each have our ship here next to our starting planet. In the middle here, we have a supply of resource cubes. So we have a score track that runs around the outside here. Each of these marks along the way is 1 point. So as you score points, you're going to move them 1, 2, 3, 4. We each also will take 1 of our wooden pieces and put it here on the 1 on our starting planet. So here I'll go ahead and grab a yellow and a red marker for these others. At each of these neutral planets that are between our planets along these tracks, we have a demand card that's going to go out. And these demand cards are the primary way that you're scoring points in the game. On our mines, so I'll go ahead and flip over each of the mines that we're building here. So I've got this green mine, we've got a blue mine, and a yellow mine. You'll see that these cards also have this same set of symbols as these ones. This is demand. This is telling us that this planet wants 1 blue, 1 yellow, and 1 green cube. This mine needs 1 blue and 1 red cube. These are the basic components of the demand for this solar system. If we deliver the 3 cubes that we need here on this neutral planet, we're going to score 2 points. For this mine, if somebody comes and delivers this blue and red cube that my mine needs, they'll get 2 points. And it's telling them that I'll get 1 point because they've met the demands on my planet. Off to one side, you're also going to have this gray ship. In the 3 deck, there's a card that lets you control this neutral spaceship also. Once we have our starting area set up here, we're going to take our sand timers, and when we're ready to begin the game, we'll start our 30-minute timer. Whether that's a soundtrack that you want to use, or if you just want to set a timer on your phone. And we're going to be flipping these timers to take actions. For example, the timer that's here next to our planet allows us to conduct research so that we can draw cards from the 2 deck and then eventually from the 3 deck. If I put a timer here on my mine, I'm producing a green cube. Once you've flipped these timers, you have to wait for them to run out before you can do anything else. You can't change your mind. You can't say, oh, I didn't want to do this, and stop it and try to wait for the sand to run back out so that you can put it somewhere else. Once you've put it down, you have to wait. When I'm doing production on a good like this, sometimes I find it's really helpful to take the cube and set it on top of the timer so I don't forget that when I pick this timer up, I need to grab this cube. Once you are in the game and you're in that 30 minutes, it feels very rushed, very frantic, and it's very easy to forget to do things like pick up one cube or spend a cube. So sometimes I find it really helpful to move the cubes and put them on top of timers when I'm going to flip them. Once this timer runs out, I get this cube. Now, there has to be a place for this cube to go. That means that either I need to have my spaceship at my planet, which it is currently, so I can just drop it here into my cargo hold, or I need to have produced a depot so that I have these storage slots. So I might also take my timer and put it here on one of these spaces at the top of my board. That means that I am producing the card that is next to this little arrow marker. So I'll also go ahead and lay down this other generator and start timers for those. And then I'm waiting for them to finish, and once they are, I can grab this generator and line it up so that I have my white with my white and my yellow with my yellow. Once my depot is finished, I can build it down here into one of these powered slots. So you'll notice that it has this place where power is coming in from these power lines that run from your generators. You cannot build in one of these slots that isn't powered. You can't set up your depot and then later on it'll get powered. When you put it down in this space, it has to have power immediately. So we could put it here and set up this depot. And then if my ship is somewhere else, so we move our ship by putting a timer on the back of our ship. And then we get to take it and put it at another planet. So we might have moved over here. Especially if we've already produced the yellow and blue cube that we needed for it. We haven't, obviously, since we don't have the ability to do that over here, but let's just say that we did. And along the way, we'll also set up this mine to make another green cube. Once this timer runs out, our ship has made it to the planet. And once we're here, we could choose to drop these 3 cubes off. And then we just take this card to indicate we have scored it, it's out. We'll move our score 1, 2 up the track. So let's go ahead and skip in a little ways. Our green cube gets finished, so we'll just drop it in our depot because our ship isn't here at our planet right now. Let's jump up in research and look at 2. Once we have the ability to draw cards at 2, at any point we can take 2 cards off the top of this deck, look at them, and keep 1. In this case, we drew 2 of the same card. They're both solar satellites. So we'll keep 1 and we'll set it here so that we can build it. The other one goes on the bottom of the deck. And then maybe we decide we want to build another one. And we say, oh, we've got this sideways multi-mine. That's pretty good. Let's put that down. And we'd start timers to build those things, just like we built our second generator and our depot. This other card is a sabotage card. These are interesting because they don't have a power slot at the top. So we decided that seems like they don't need to be powered, that they go off to one side when you build those. So when we build our solar satellite, you can see that it comes in and covers up and adds power for our orange. And our multi-mine slots in and takes 2 power slots as one of these sideways cards. It also doesn't have demand. You can see that these demand spaces are here, but the multi-mine doesn't include one. So we might build a metropolis underneath it. And then we've added a place where we have these demand options, but we didn't add another action space with the Metropolis. It's only demand to encourage other people to come to our planet, drop off goods, get points for doing so, and also give us points. One of the core rules here for building your planet up as you construct these things is that you can never cover demand up. So if I want to build, say, this converter, which allows me to spend an action to take one cube of any type and turn it into a cube of another type, I can't build this here because I'd cover up demand. If this Metropolis had been built over here, I can cover up the multi-mine. I can nullify this action so I can't use the mine anymore and build in this space. I just can't ever cover up demand. So in the same way, if I had built this converter, I could then decide I don't want that converter anymore and build a multi-mine. But now, if I build this Metropolis, I have to build it off to one side. I can't cover up this converter's demand, even though I can't use the converter anymore. So there's an element here of being aware of how you are constructing your city on this planet as you are setting up your mines, any other options that you have as you go through these various cards that you can build. Let's say I make it over here to the yellow planet, and I have this red and green cube on my ship that I need to fulfill the demand on his mine. All I need to do when I'm there is take these two, say, hey, I'm fulfilling that, drop these. I'm going to take one of my player markers and cover up that demand so that everyone can see this has been claimed. I'm the one who scored it. It tells me that I get 2 points and he gets 1 point. So I'd go 1, 2, and yellow is going to get 1 point just for having demand that I fulfilled. Whenever somebody fulfills one of these neutral planet demands, you're just going to draw a new card, put it out so that there's always demand at these planets until you run out of cards. If your mine finishes producing a good and your ship isn't at your planet, but another player's ship is, normally that good would just go away because you don't have any kind of storage for it. You can choose to put this cube on their ship. The rules just tell you that it must be a ship in orbit of your planet or a depot at your planet. So you could choose to just give another player a cube at your planet, knowing that they're going to use that to fulfill goods demands at your planet and get you points. Two ships can also meet at any of these planets and exchange good cubes between them. So we might say, hey, I'll give you a red for a yellow. The cargo hold on your ships has a maximum capacity of 8 cubes, so you can never have more than 8. If you were in a situation where you have all these cubes and you're about to produce this green cube, it can't go onto my ship. It would have to drop into my depot. I could swap goods from my ship to my depot and move them around if I needed those 4 green to go complete some demands. But you can never exceed 8. Okay, so I'm just going to talk about what each of these cards in the game does real fast. We have our generators that produce power. And then our other level 1 cards, we have our normal mine in different colors. Here's a green one. Our depot. This iconography just tells you that you can put an hourglass there, and that when the hourglass finishes, it'll produce this. The depot gives us a place to put cubes if our ship isn't at our planet. The other level 1 cards are just more mines in the other 2 colors that you start with, and then a generator again. At level 2, we get to upgrade our generator to a solar satellite. And that's going to give us 3 powered slots on each side. We can build the mine complex, which is an upgraded version of the mine. Same thing, hourglass, but this time it produces 2 cubes and has significantly more demand available. We can build a converter, which will let us take an action to convert 1 cube to a different type of cube. The tech center gives us 2 additional hourglass spaces, and it may not be really obvious, but these are hourglasses here with these arrows on top of them. So this is telling you that you have 2 spaces already to put cards to take that action to construct things. If you build a tech center, then you have 4 of those. There's not a way to indicate that in the game. You don't have like a piece of cardboard or whatever to put here. It would have been nice if there was some way to indicate that. And then we have these 2 sabotage cards. And these don't share the same iconography of requiring a power slot. So when we were talking about rules, we decided that you didn't have to build them in those slots, that they went off to the side like this. Interstellar Rocket lets you take an action to take 2 of these black cubes that are in the supply and use those to block a space on someone else's board. So you could say, well, you can't use your mine complex because I've launched these interstellar rockets at it. You can't use your converter. The only way for them to get rid of that is to take this action just to remove this cube. So when that timer runs out, we'd get to remove that cube. The other sabotage card here, this sabotageant, you take the action, you take 2 black cubes. Instead of blocking the space, you are using these cubes to stop a couple of their timers. So I can put those 2 down and say, okay, when those timers run out, they were worthless. You have to take that action again. The other 2 level 2 cards are printed on a horizontal instead of on a vertical. With these ones, we've got the multi-mine, which takes 2 power places. So we can put it here. We can take 1 action to produce any one of these 3 cubes. The other one is Metropolis. All the Metropolis does is add demands. It gives you a place for somebody to come drop off cubes and score points and give you points. Level 3 cards give us the fusion reactor. So now we have a 4th slot over here in this red. And it's worth noting, you have to upgrade from a generator to a solar satellite to a fusion reactor. You can't go from a generator straight to a fusion reactor. If you'd never built one of your generators, you could never just build a solar satellite or a fusion reactor. This time we only have 1 vertical card that we can add. We can build this Roboter fabric. This is going to allow us to use a 3rd sand timer. All of the other level 3 cards are printed horizontally, and most of these are going to be upgraded versions. We've got a fusion mine, which is just a better version of our multi-mine from earlier. Take the action. You get to take 2 cubes of 1 color. So you get 2 color choices here and then 3 color choices here. That's the only downside to the upgraded version. fusion converter, if I move these out of our way, is just an upgraded version of the converter that we saw before. The megacity is just an upgraded version of the metropolis. I'm out of legal places to put these down, so I am just going to take this metropolis and put the megacity here instead. Everything else, though, I've been trying to make sure I placed legally as we went, so I didn't cover up any demands. But I'll leave this here so you can see that those two both have demand. The other two cards that you'll find in the level 3 deck are this Orbital Station, which allows you to move this neutral gray ship around the board. So you could use your third sand timer to be sending this ship around also. The other one is a transporter. So here you can take an action to move 2 cubes from your depot, for example. So if we still had this depot, we could activate our fusion mine, take 2 cubes, put them in our depot, and then take an action with our transporter to teleport these directly to our ship, even though it's over in some other part of the galaxy. That's what all the cards do. The iconography on them is pretty straightforward. The demand is pretty clear the whole way. The biggest thing by far to remember as you're building this is never cover up demand. That always has to stay wherever it was. And you can never build a card into a space that isn't powered yet. In real time during the game, whenever you score demand, you just set your token there and then move the tokens around the board. When you get to the end of your 30-minute game, whoever is furthest along this board is the winner, and that's it.
Worst case scenario is that it's a disaster, and everyone's just like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
That's recording.
Okay.
I will, 30 minutes, go. So I will just let people know. I'll kind of glance at the timer from time to time. So,
okay. So we're going?
No, let's start over, because I didn't...
I was like, wait, did that timer start? Because I want to have my timers going.
Yeah,
And then
I forgot that everyone else has their mind set up, and I hadn't set one up, so I kind of went, oh, hold on.
For sure.
Okay, so...
Okay, let's all reveal our minds.
Yeah.
I'm making red over here.
Okay, so am I.
Okay.
I should have kept that yellow one out.
It's okay.
So yeah, you can at any time take the cards that you already have, your ones, and put them here to build if you want.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can start working on your technology tree to get to 2s.
Okay.
All right, we are starting now.
Okay. I'm gonna do this.
Start building that.
This is one of the things that's really weird about this type of game, that now we sit here and stare at our timers and wait, and you're thinking about like all the things you want to do. It's really strange.
Yeah, that's weird. Can I stay? I can put another card.
Yeah, you can set a card out there.
It's just like once it's there, it's there.
Yeah.
I think I am absolutely going to do that once that's ready to go. So let's just be there.
Yeah.
Come on, timer. So I'm putting. Oh, that's the one, not the right one.
Ah!
There it is. Okay, that's the one I'm trying to put down.
Needs red cubes. Stacia needs one.
Everybody needs red cubes.
Stacia's the only one who has a demand for a red cube.
Dang it.
So
I'm about to have a demand for a red cube.
only if you build that. I guess you're building
Already in the process.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. You're gonna need.
Oh, what did I
just
do?
a
I
red
just
cube.
picked up my generator after I built it instead of putting it where it went. That would have been dumb.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's
So-
super
Like,
sick. And then
just
you
so
found it
ridiculous.
built
Wasted
it
one of my
again.
actions right at the
Yeah.
start.
So that means I could use one of your green cubes. Okay, so we're level 2 here. Let's start working on that generator.
Draw 2 cards.
Put the other one on the bottom of the deck.
Oh, I'm
What
gonna
to
make it a
do
red
now?
cube. Let's see.
Start
I
generating.
can drop them over here.
Yep. 2. See what we got.
Don't like either one of these.
Sure, that's gonna go on the bottom of the deck.
Do that.
What's
Show me your cards.
the Metropolis?
That's just like a demands thing. It's just like for getting points.
Okay.
It doesn't have any like power requirements. So you can build it down here.
Yeah. I'm gonna do that for sure.
I don't even.
Mine
I
complex.
guess I'll put. I need to start.
I need to start
Mine.
doing things.
I was
I
just
can
like,
draw
it's
again,
just sitting
right?
there.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
if you got slots.
Yeah,
go
if
for
you've
it.
got slots, draw. Figure out what things you think you want to build.
I'm wanting one thing. I'm not getting it.
Research. Oh, sorry, that's wrong. Build that generator. Working on research.
Oh, got another green.
There's a cube.
That.
Work on the solar satellite.
Oh,
Oh, I didn't take my red cube that I just produced. That's what I gotta do. Boop, it's on my ship.
I'm sorry. We should have demands out for the neutral planets, so I'll go ahead and put those out now. I don't know if that would have affected anybody's choices along the way, but
nope.
I guess only if we would have known what demand was before before the game started.
it's unclear to me if you would have known, but it's
Yeah.
okay. There's demand on those neutral planets. So, still, people don't really want red cubes that much, so that's great.
Yeah.
Uh,
We still made great decisions.
yeah. This is about to technology up. Go again.
This
We're gonna build that.
Good. Okay. Let's do that again. Let's upgrade this. We hit research level 3. Let's build that.
So put that down. There. Yup.
No, I guess I can draw cards.
So if I want to come over and deliver to you, because I'm going to convert a green to blue,
Okay, I'm gonna stick with it. That's fine.
do I just come to your planet or I have to meet you?
If you're trying to fulfill a demand, you need to do it at my planet.
Okay.
Because these things are on my planet.
Okay, so I'm converting a green to a blue.
So it's going to put me up to 3rd level technology. Now. So I'm going to not quite
Wait,
set
what
this
is-
yet because I'm
what
going to
is
draw a
this?
card first. And maybe one of these things is going to be amazing. Okay. Well, put that there.
Oh no.
Start building it.
Oh. I need to do something else first. Okay, perfect.
That's built.
Keep this. Okay,
I
good.
don't know what's
Do that.
happening anymore.
Take another 3 card. Hopefully get something better this time.
I need mine some more things.
Oh, man. Okay, well. We'll just...
Does anyone have yellow in them? Yeah.
I do. I need some yellow.
I could take 1 yellow, this neutral planet, and this neutral planet
yeah.
all have yellow.
Oh, that should be there, because that wasn't powered before. I just stuck my card in slightly the wrong place. Due to unfamiliarity with the board layout.
Oh, okay. Keep forgetting that. Sure.
I'm going to build a fusion reactor, then a fusion reactor.
There, that's
I'm not generating any cubes, but I'm going to have
That's
super power going on.
should be.
Well, we
oh.
make that, so.
Okay, build that.
Let's see.
Draw another thing from the 3 deck.
Oh, I put that in the wrong spot.
You need to build a thing that generates cubes. Like that.
I know I'm the 3, and I'm good. And I think
We're gonna take this, place it here. Take this, place it here.
You're at 23 minutes remaining.
And let's do that.
Fusion
Anyone
Line,
scored yet?
Mega
No.
City.
Okay.
Come on.
Can't wait.
Sure, I'll build that.
I don't know.
Okay, this will be good.
Okay.
So I wanted, but it's good.
Oh, I can build 4 things now, right? For the tech center.
Yeah, you can have 4 cards in front of you. And you could even just have them sitting there and maybe people will trade with you.
Is there like a limit to how many cards you can have in your hand?
No.
Okay.
Things that you're not building are just
Yeah.
there.
Oh, I guess I'm gonna, let's see. Let's look at
That's what I need.
And I'll immediately activate
Perfect.
that as soon as I build it.
Oh!
Go! Make those cubes. Oops.
Guess I'll make some room.
Sucks.
What?
Oh! Which of these do I want?
What is that? Oh,
I'm
it's just
gonna
the
hang on to
random
this one.
I don't really care. I don't understand anymore.
Okay,
Everything's
so I made a
I think we were
green
getting
cube
slim
and
on
a
these
red
3
cube.
cards.
Yeah, right. People are definitely grabbing
I'm
those
just
up.
like, I don't know
Okay.
anymore.
Okay, so I'm doing that.
I forgot that I could stack the cards.
I'm gonna do this.
So I can sit there and maybe I'll make
That
that.
doesn't matter.
Let's see.
Don't move.
Good. Okay, I want to do that.
I can fulfill multiple requirements at the same time, right?
Yeah, if you got the cubes for it.
I don't really know how to do anything anymore.
Okay. Fusion Mine. My interpretation of what this card does is it makes 4 cubes. I could be wrong. What do you think? Do you think the Fusion Mine?
That's what it seems like to me, that it's saying it's making 2 of each.
Yeah, okay. Get on the ship.
I want to make sure you can't double up on the tech center, right?
You think it's one or the other?
I think it's one or the other because of the
Okay.
way Fusion
Yeah.
Mine is.
Okay.
Where you choose one of
Then
them.
not make those red cubes, just the yellow cubes. And then we will start making more. This is done. Start making that. Robot Factory!
Oh!
Give me another timer! I wait for the sand to run out because it's on its side.
Okay,
I
I'll fulfill
don't
your
know how
requirements.
people have so many things
Okay,
and I don't have any.
green.
I'll just build.
I just have
I
lots of
can't do that,
dice.
so...
What requirement are you fulfilling? Put your marker there and give yourself the points for it
Let's
and all
do
that.
this.
Boom, so
Oh, no, let's
yellow.
do this.
Okay, double
Oh,
cube.
whatever.
Yep. And give yourself a point.
And then here...
Okay, so give yourself 2 points.
Yeah, those go
Wait, why
there.
am I don't even.
So I am white, so I go...
So you got 3 and then give me 1.
3.
I could stack these on top
One.
of these, right? Wait, I don't.
Because the blue...
Sure, that's fine.
I don't
Got it.
understand this game.
You can't build
I'm gonna
that.
take these yellow and red cubes somewhere.
What do you have
on
trouble
cover
with?
Oh, I can. Never mind. I can just put it on
I'm not at
these.
home.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just wasted that action.
Well,
Wait.
this, because it needs to be
Burns.
connected to power nodes, needs to be on top of
So,
something. So,
put
like,
it
you'd need to
here.
build it here after you built power.
Okay, well, that was a waste. but
Okay.
whatever.
You can leave it there
This is-
completed until you use your other thing.
Okay.
So, like, you could be trying to get the level 3 power reactor. At least that's my interpretation of
I don't-
what I understand of the rules.
What is Robot Factory?
That's an extra.
Gives you a,
Timer?
yeah, it
An
gives
extra
you a
timer.
timer.
Finally.
Hey, Stacia,
I don't know.
Shoot.
I'm dropping off a green and a red
stuff?
cube.
I'll start making more of those.
So here, I get 2
Convert.
points. You have 1 point.
Cool.
You have...
Convert
I don't know
these.
anymore what's happening.
2, I think. Let's see. I
build
built
this.
that, so let's build this.
Got myself another green.
And
Start fusion converting
I'm gonna
again.
start building
Take
this.
one of these because nobody's been taken from this pile for a while.
Let's see. I'm gonna look at options I might build. Oh, okay.
Okay, sure.
I'm gonna take
Put
that.
that there. Underneath. Build it.
I think what I want is probably in 2, not in 3.
No, that's just the wrong way.
Give me 2 yellow cubes. Making more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so convert.
Wait, did you take cubes from? I don't know.
Here's this.
I have another timer.
Yeah, convert.
Did I actually take
this
another
to a
timer?
blue.
What do
Yes.
I want to do?
Now you've got 3 timers.
I
And
guess I'll make
convert
more
this
cubes.
to a
Here, let's
I
do
don't
this. Now that that's done. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
That's
Uh-oh.
gonna be.
That's
Everybody,
gonna be-
everybody, stop!
Okay.
Stop what you're doing.
Okay. Okay.
What do I do with the timers?
It's just we just have to deal with it. Don't worry about it. Our game will be slightly longer than 30 minutes because resume.
Okay.
It's
Let's see. I'm taking
built. Oh,
And then I need to do like that.
I'm gonna do that
to
again.
move over, to go here. Right?
Sorry, what?
What's happening now? Okay, let's go there, I guess. I have to wait till that, and then I can.
Yeah, to move.
Okay.
if people already
And
started going,
Your
yeah,
third
okay.
timer that's
Okay.
done there. Oh,
Oh no.
Where do you think I built this?
Stacia, I have an extra fusion reactor here. If that's something that would entice you, if you'd like it,
Yeah.
you know.
Rob,
Do you
where do
want-
you think I build this card? Like, there's no power associated with it. Like, what do you think?
I think it's
happens?
just over a spot, so you're just gonna put it. Oh.
See what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't have power. So, like, do you think it just kind of like
I guess, yeah, just off to one side.
it's a satellite?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't notice that about
Yeah,
those.
that slows me down, but whatever. That's what happens there. So,
Interesting.
I
guess I'm gonna build
go ahead
one
and
of those too.
Start working on that.
I guess you can have my fusion mine.
Move it over there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So this converter happened.
Although you have one already.
I don't think I really need.
If it's a fusion mine that makes
start
different things than my
moving,
fusion
so
mine,
I'm gonna
I'd be pretty excited about
So,
that.
I can get these points.
Oh no! I just finished making the things to fulfill those points.
And do I get rid of these cubes, or what do I do?
have
What do I do
two.
with that?
Yeah. You just toss those cubes into the middle and you take the card to indicate that you took the points, and then a new card goes out.
Okay.
start working on converting.
These just got finished, and I just teleported these to here.
I got 2 yellow.
Fulfill that demand. Oh,
Let's
shit.
see, what can I do?
Oh, man. Oh, no.
I can do a blue and a green.
Okay, so this gives me
And then that gets me
what
2,
color?
and you
Orange.
get 1.
2.
So 1,
there.
2, and...
Did you guys count this as the first point slot?
dang
Because
it.
that was the first point slot.
I don't
So
even know.
whoever
Okay.
when you guys move,
because
just
in
make
order
sure
to
you did
get
that
my
correctly.
things, I have to go back.
1, 2. There we go. I think that's right.
I drew the wrong card. This is a
Back to my spot, I think. Where is the cards to put here?
Here in the middle.
I don't even know.
Okay. Those 2 blue. I teleported to my ship. And then I was picking up these 2 cubes to drop. And then I just made 2 more blue. And now I am teleporting those to my ship. And
We're gonna
I'm going to
convert
do that.
this and this to yellow, I guess. Take those. Let's see.
I give up. I'm not good. I'm not good at multitasking enough for this game.
Sabotage!
Oh no! My multi-mine isn't going to punch anything out.
Sabotage!
And then my transport's going to fail.
I don't know if I use it or not. It's fine. Okay, so I'm gonna load up planet with. I'm gonna load up my ship with these. I assume I need to wait for that timer to run out before I can do that, but like it's gonna happen. Yeah. So now we're gonna head back on over to this planet.
You have to build the metropolis and stuff too, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Stupid black cube. Does it go back to the supply
Yep.
after it's used? Okay. I wasn't sure if that was a thing that didn't happen. Oh, I didn't put down my thing here when I did your points.
Okay, convert
So wait, did you give me the
Yeah, I gave you the 1 point already.
But a
I don't know.
Red in the depot. Making more. I'm gonna fulfill these 3 things. 1, 2, and 3 fulfilled. That's
I
2
need some green.
points.
Well, I make green here in my fusion mine. Oh, were we gonna swap things maybe? Was that maybe happening?
Yeah, sure.
I gotta head back to get another red cube. So back we go to Quote.
If anybody needs.
No one's completed any of my
teleport.
stuff. Come on.
Who wants to
Yeah,
give you
I don't-
points?
I don't know.
That's right now.
What can you? I don't.
Let's see. I'm doing
Just 1 blue, blue and yellow
That
2
was making
greens.
yellow.
for the easy ones.
I want
Convert a
to
yellow.
do this.
Basically, it's like
There we
really simple for me to just make 4 cubes and then take them to the neutral planet next to me because I can convert them to whatever I want. So, I'm gonna
Kind of like I've got this system where I generate cubes and
This
then
failed,
teleport
like
them to my
Yeah.
ship and then just drop them off at Stacia's planet.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of working my way through making the things to please her people right now.
I'm gonna go ahead and
I
drop
guess what can I get?
all
Can I
4 of
give
these
you anything
cubes
then?
on the ship.
Yeah, for sure. I need green and yellow and
I
red.
to
don't
you.
have any green.
It's
I'm
I
gonna
got
go
to you
back
first
and
before
take
you
my red
move.
so I can give you some red.
It's true,
Yeah.
I haven't left yet.
I can
Is it
drop
even
these
worth it
guys
for points?
off.
It's worth 1 point to whoever
Although,
drops it off. It's worth
yeah,
0 to
taking
me.
this.
Okay.
Okay. Give yourself 4, give me 3.
So I have to go back here and then I can take stuff from mine and then go back.
Yeah.
Oh, I
1,
got 2 yellow.
Okay, so
2,
Sorry.
3, 4, and
They're not
you're
yellow, but
orange.
good, I think.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I just made
Markers and
two,
put
a
it
red,
here.
and I'm teleporting
done.
those to my ship.
Guess I'll give you the.
Like I'm about to,
And
I'm about to like
yes.
make
So I
cubes
can-
if you like want cubes
So
before
you
you leave.
need
But, like,
yellow, green,
yeah,
blue, blue.
we're gonna make 2 red cubes
Right.
like that. And we're gonna flip that and make more.
Okay,
I'm gonna
so
convert
that means that I got 4 and you got 2.
to green
So
and
I'm
blue
gonna
because I
one,
don't make
two,
those. Just have them ready to
three.
go.
1, 2,
Oh, I just built 2 more yellows, so you can go back here.
4. Yeah. I think I did that right. And then you get 2.
Where's your ship? It's so far away. 2.
Okay, I'm now at this planet, so let's fulfill that demand.
So I'll put those there.
Aha! 2 points. And what else is here? If it's something that I can fulfill, then I have to get a new one.
What am I about to need?
Is that can just happen because I have all the things? Okay, there we go.
Here, do this.
That was a failing on my part for not recognizing that would be an issue. Okay.
It's 2 green here. Let's make 2 green.
I messed up because I have this thing on its side, so
And
this
then
is
we
done.
send a
Start
blue and a
building.
green over.
I can't build that. Oh, man.
Let's see, I want this here.
Well, I think I can build that. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, this time timer is basically out now. Go back. Okay. So we need 1.
So I'm making 2 red right now.
Have that green. Is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. Once that gets to my planet, we have.
Yes, okay.
For the fusion converter, is it 2 of the same color to 2 of the same color?
No,
Or I
just
can
2
do-
cubes to 2 other cubes.
Okay.
I made a mistake. Oh no. Oh no.
You got 8 minutes remaining.
I'm not going to have room for this cube. Can I just dump a cube that I don't want?
If you
it's in
made
my
one
depot?
that doesn't happen, I don't think so.
Okay.
Like, if you're generating a cube, there's nowhere to put it. It doesn't happen, but, like, I don't think
coming
that
to you.
what you're talking about happens. Okay, so that gets built.
Oh, there are no...
For your
multi-mine.
mine, I think.
Oh, no.
For the Metropolis?
Yeah, whatever
Nice.
it is.
You guys, put yellow cubes back in the supply.
Nope.
I can't even take the cube I want right now.
It's okay, I'm converting, so just give me a moment.
I'm about to dump one.
No, I'll be fine. I'll just teleport my cubes, and then...
I guess I could have, because you're over here, if I could have given you my 2 yellow, right?
I don't know what to do with that fusion.
That's true. You
converter.
could just give me yellow.
Because I have 2 here.
Just start trying to convert something, I guess. I don't think I used that last
Converting
time.
2 yellow for...
I'm going to use them to fulfill your needs and give you
Red.
points, Stacia. You could just give
Well,
me
I
yellow.
can just, do I have to flip anything, or can I just give it to you?
You just take them and put them in my ship, because they're at they're in your depot. Oh, man. That's going to make my life way easier.
Well, because I made 2 at the same time.
Yeah,
so.
for sure.
I'm gonna do...
I think I can fulfill all these demands, so I think I need to get off of this.
That
I can't
Okay,
fulfill
How
that.
many points is that for me?
I'm doing
3 for
2
you,
red,
2 for me.
a green, a blue, and a yellow.
So
Wait.
Back to quote.
Are each and is each one of these the
Yeah,
thing?
each arrow is a point. Yeah.
And this
and
is
I'm one
teleporting.
behind you.
Oh, there's the yellow that I finally produced.
Okay. So
Those
this is
ones I
done,
just
made.
I got
dropped
another
off.
green.
I need to
So
go back so I
I'm
can
doing
get a
5.
red.
So 1, 2, 3, 4,
I'm gonna
5.
convert those 2 yellow
And
to
you are
green.
getting 2.
green and blue.
2.
Green and blue. Like that. We will, once this arrives on the planet, put those on the spaceship.
Okay. You move over here. I fulfill this guy for blue, yellow, and green. So I get 2 points. 2.
Go back
It's
to
taken off.
neutral planet.
If it's completed, it goes where?
You just
Yeah,
in front of you,
keep
you
it.
keep it.
Okay. Okay, those move, and then I teleport.
I can't complete it
these
immediately.
So that
2,
stays there.
and then I generate, and then I do that.
Don't forget, you guys, if you're in the same place, you can trade cubes between you on your
Oh,
ships.
can I have a green? Do you want a blue or yellow?
Here,
I'll take a blue.
fulfilled This.
Blue, and you can have, yeah, the green.
Thanks. Because I have blue greens.
Okay,
over.
so
And
make
1,
2 yellows.
3.
We're gonna
Cool.
This
convert
is
them
built.
to green and blue. So don't make those. Start making more cubes.
Blue,
Get the
green,
conversion
yellow.
ready.
That's what I
Oh,
need right
I
now.
got-
Blue, green, and yellow.
So I need to fulfill this as soon as I get here.
Here's
Green,
yellow at my next
and
opportunity. Oh, my yellow's sitting right here. I just didn't move
Red.
it. That means that I failed to generate one of these cubes because there wasn't room for it.
So that'll be done.
That's fine.
2 more points. This comes out.
It's
And
considered
can't
cheating
be
if I
fulfilled,
change
so
what I want to do.
I need to
all the time.
leave so that I can go there.
Okay, so
I don't know what you just asked, though. Pay attention.
Basically, it'd be cheating if I was like, I don't actually want to do this. I want to go over here.
Yeah.
Wait
Can't
for it
do
to
yeah,
be done.
that's a thing you can't do, unfortunately.
I did the wrong thing.
It is super frustrating when you're like, oh, I want to do this thing, and I just put my thing in the wrong place.
So now this can go here now that I've left the planet. Because I had those cubes and couldn't
Let's see.
do
That's
that.
going to call on green.
Oh,
So I'm going to
okay.
make 2 green.
Let's make... let's see, what are you going to need?
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
So I just got 2 more
I
blue.
give up on doing anything in this game.
Who wants to throw in the blue?
Stacia?
Complex for me.
Don't give up.
Make 2 red. There's 3.5 minutes remaining, so, like, just tough it out.
I mean, I'm still doing things, but I'm not doing.
Start making more.
Yeah. Okay, so
So I should still get
I'm
1
gonna go
more
ahead
blue
and
once
drop
someone
off.
gives that up.
don't
this
have
one
anything
and
to
just get 1
convert.
point for myself. Oh, I'm
Just
sorry.
start multi-mining, I guess, because I don't really have anything to do with that.
Looks like it was a finished timer anyway, so it didn't actually matter.
Yeah.
I am
just
being
sitting
left
there because I have
behind.
nothing.
I'm
to
working
do.
on it. I gotta get to you. It's gonna take me
No,
2
it's-
minutes to get over
You
there.
want to trade any of the cubes that we got? Wait, no, you're here. You're on my planet.
Okay,
aren't you?
while
yeah, I'm at
here,
your
put
planet.
these on
There
my
was just
planet.
not room by your planet when I
Yeah.
moved.
Move to here.
To
Yeah, I'll have enough time
is
to
what I'm
get
grabbing.
exactly to your planet and fulfill something.
How much time do we have left?
I can come
2.5
to-
minutes.
Okay.
Okay, so I just finished your last
What these are doing doesn't matter.
Thing.
your last thing, yeah. So,
I'll just
here
save some time. I can just
is
come to you, I guess.
this.
Well, I mean, I have to get it to physically your planet to fulfill a demand, so
Oh,
there's nothing
that's
to do about it.
and
So I don't have to be there.
1, 2.
Right.
I'm gonna go there.
I'm moving. I'm teleporting. Okay, so what
And
can
I
I do
got
with what I
completed
have?
this guy.
I have blue, green, and red. Is there
I
not a?
actually need another
There's
blue.
not a card here right now. Oh, we're out of cards.
They're out of
Yeah,
cards.
I fulfilled most of them. Sorry.
Um,
1,
Doesn't matter.
2. Yeah, now there's no point in moving anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I need those to fulfill your thing, so I gotta go over there.
okay, so
Well, that's a big fail on my part, I guess. Here we are, heading to your planet for the last minute. Once I get there, I'm gonna fulfill the thing that's worth the most points to me, so I'm gonna give you...
oh, that teleported these 2
Blue.
cubes.
Oh, and I have a second green? What a bunch of trash. Okay, well, I'm gonna fulfill that one, which is gonna be, yeah.
No, you can't do this one.
No, I can do the one over here, green, yellow, red. What the man? Okay.
I don't know why I just did
Yeah,
this.
shortchanged a
I'm not
point.
gonna have time to use it, which is sad.
Yeah.
I'm converting. That's yours. So
That was dumb
Fulfill
of me.
that.
Oh, you started
well.
like making something?
Yeah, I had like a plan in
blue,
mind
blue,
for it,
Nope.
and
Four.
then I was gonna use it in the last like minute to screw somebody up, but I would have to then also flip a timer to use it. So that was a miscalculation on my
I can't
part.
Make these, so whatever.
But I think when I get
much
to
time is
Aaron's
left?
planet here in a second,
50 seconds. So,
Oh, okay, so
yeah, any
nothing.
sand timer that you
Yeah.
would start is just garbage now. So, I could convert cubes, but I have no reason to. I'm just gonna ride it out.
Wait, I don't think. Okay. I think you accidentally pushed mine. I think I'm here.
Well, you're. Oh.
I'm blue.
and
Yeah, I gave you. I'm sorry.
did
I
you-
gave you points, and I should have given white
I
points.
just
Yeah.
no, I just moved it there, so I'm
Okay.
back there still.
Sorry, I
I'm
thought he was
dropping
blue.
off
Okay, I
this
was like, I
red
think I'm
and
behind.
blue cube
Yeah.
for 2 and 1. So
Yeah,
I got
Thanks for
1,
knocking my man
2,
around.
and
white.
you're white. Okay, so 1.
Slowly coming up.
All right. Well, 9, 8, 7,
Oh no!
5,
My missile launch!
3, 2, 1.
Oh, my missiles didn't launch! So disappointing. I was gonna fire them at Sean.
Where,
Space dealer.
Space dealer.
It's the game where you've got 30 minutes to make some cubes.
Flipping lots of egg timers.
And then take them to other places in space. Space Dealer. So, this is an older game,
Yep.
and I already don't remember the year. 2006, I want to say, is the year this came out.
Okay.
And then we have already played another game called Time and Space, which came out in 2013. Which is a re-implementation of this.
Yep.
So a lot of what we're going to be talking about is comparing those two games,
Okay.
and trying to jog our memories about how Time and Space works because we played it once.
And that was like a year ago.
Yeah. And then talking about how it relates to the other game that's in this, what I think is like a really niche category of games, which are the egg timer real-time games, Kitchen Rush, which we neither of us have played, but like talking about how that relates to this.
Okay.
So, the first thing is that comparing Space Dealer to Time and Space, both of them are in space. You're on your little ships going around to each other's planets, delivering goods. They have the same theme.
A lot of the same general, like, mechanical layout in terms of the way the playfield looks. That the same kind of spaceship pieces, the same, in some ways, similar kind of layout for your personal space that you have, that you have the building spaces that you can be using, but that gets implemented a lot differently in the two games.
Yeah. And they both have those just like sand timers that they're not really sci-fi at all. They're just kind of there.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. That they, it's really strange that they didn't apply some kind of theme to that.
So, between the two, which one do you think is more space thematic, I guess? Which one got you more invested in the world that's being presented, I guess?
I feel like Space Stealer has more of that going on. And I feel like a lot of that is in that presentation. Like the cards have that artwork on them where in Time and Space it's just like kind of blank hex spaces with just iconography in them.
Yeah.
Which, on the one hand is very clear and easy to read, but on the other hand makes it feel a lot more abstracted.
Yeah.
Where, the artwork for everything you're building in this game, there's a little satellite that you're putting in, and, you get to upgrade it to a really big reactor. All that artwork, I feel, is it's very evocative of a world.
Yeah.
And even like the fact that the game's cards are in German kind of plays into that too, because it's not just like a fusion reactor; it's a fusion reactor.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that touch of the German language that's on it also just ties into that theme for me for some reason. I like it.
Okay. Yeah. I would say that I agree that I think it's more thematic, which is interesting because they had like 7 years to revise the game when they put out a new edition, and they made it. I'd say the newer Time and Space looks cleaner, but it also just
it's also
feels
starker.
Yeah, it feels kind of emotionless, and I don't particularly like the artwork on either game. This one, it's really dark, and just kind of feels not quite as pristine as I want it to.
Sure.
But then Time and Space is like the opposite. It's really bright and too pristine. It's like very squeaky clean. And I would say between the two, if you're going to play one or the other, I would recommend Space Dealer first, but I do feel like Space Dealer maybe is more complicated.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I would agree with that.
Because I had to, before we even started the game, I had to sit there and tell everybody, here's what all the cards are, here's what you would use them for, and why you would use them. Whereas that's not really how you deal with Time and Space. It's kind of just, there's tiles, and you go pick up the tiles and put them on your board and follow the iconography. And plus, Space Dealer, you can combine 2 copies and play with up to 8 people, which is not a thing in Time and Space.
It's
true. In fact, I think that's a pretty uncommon thing to include a whole set of wooden pieces in this game that are only used if you're going to buy another copy of the game.
Yeah.
It's a whole bag full of big, thick wooden cylinders that you would only use for either the 8-player game, or just so you have the option of flipping your planet over to the other tile.
Yeah.
If you want to play light blue instead of regular blue, or orange instead of red. So there's something to be said for that. They were like, well, we're going to plan ahead and try to, presumably someone tested that and said this game works up to 8 players if you have the right pieces. They're also the interlocking pieces to build the board that are there for each player count. I don't know that I'd want to play it with 8 people. I feel like it would be pretty chaotic, and I don't know that you'd really interact with
I don't think it would matter.
Table.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is I feel like the game would have been mostly the same. That you would have probably just interacted with the 2 people on either side of you, maybe 1 person over on each side, but pretty unlikely to go past that.
Because it just takes so long to move your ship.
Yeah, it's just too time-consuming for that to work.
Which, I don't know. That's a thing to talk about. Like, I spent most of our gameplay footage, I spent most of the time just going to the neutral planet next to me and delivering its goods and going back to my planet, and just going back and forth between the two, because I was not getting points to other people by doing that. I wasn't getting a ton of points by doing it, but it was a thing I could be doing.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the ideal thing to be doing, but it was a thing that I was getting points for. So a part of me like wonders if the mechanism of do a couple things real fast and then just wait for like a minute is too much waiting.
Okay.
And I wonder if like the game would still work if the sand timers were like 45 seconds.
Oh, sure.
Because it's just a lot of time just to move your ship, just to upgrade the technology tree or something, you know?
Sure.
And if you break down like the number of actions that you're going to get total, like the game is 30 minutes long, and if you don't build the thing that gives you another sand timer, that means you're going to get 60 actions.
Yeah.
If you move your sand timer exactly at a minute every single time and are on top
constantly
of it.
on top of it, yeah.
Yeah. Which sounds like a lot, but also doesn't feel like it's that much while you're playing the game.
Yeah.
It feels like you don't have enough time to get done what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I think that makes sense in an environment like Kitchen Rush, because like you've got just like minutes to get this
food prepped and cooked and out the door. Yeah.
Because otherwise customers are going to get angry at you and whatever. Like, who's going to care that it takes you time to get your ship across space to deliver cubes, you know?
Space hungry people.
It feels like rushed for no obvious reason.
Sure.
And
that was one of the reasons why we decided we didn't like Time and Space as much, and decided we were going to go to Kitchen Rush as like our go-to timer flipper game. But we hadn't played Space Dealer at that point.
Yeah.
Did your gameplay of Space Dealer change your mind about that? You know, do you feel like
I would play this again?
Yeah.
I don't dislike the game, but I don't know that I would do anything really specifically differently in other games. Like, it would change a little bit based on who you're playing with and what cards they happen to have, what cards you happen to get.
Sure.
But I feel like, generally speaking, there's, like, you're going to make some kind of cubes and you're going to be delivering them to one of your neighbors. You're not going to be... You don't have enough time to go across the table to someone else.
Yeah, that's true.
And, you know, if you build... Like, I think you got to build one of the things that lets you convert a type of cube to another cube. I think that flexibility is, like, necessary.
I didn't do it.
Well, congratulations.
What else do you think was necessary?
You had the teleporter thing, and I think that's...
Teleporter was pretty great.
Maybe too good.
It was really good.
Just being able to send your cubes...
Sending 2 cubes at a time directly to my ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
I think this game is good. I think it maybe has limitations in terms of like who I would play it with.
Okay.
Because, you know, real-time games... Some people just do not want to have that kind of like stress factor.
Sure.
They like aren't going to really enjoy it, and they're going to kind of like just shut down and be like, I don't know what to do. Like
Sure.
I've got like a couple actions and I don't know if I'm doing anything right, and I can't like stop and evaluate things, and it's just too much. And I don't want to do it.
I don't think that like real-time games are about struggling through it like a couple of times and dealing with the fact that like, okay, we're going to play Escape, for example, which is also a real-time game. You know, you're constantly rolling dice and just frantically trying to get out. The first couple of times you play that game, like, you are gonna lose. Like, you just don't understand how to move through the temple the way you need to. You don't understand how to interact with everything in, like, that optimal way. But after you've played it, a couple of times, you start getting a feel for what you're supposed to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of the same thing here, where, like, that first time, it's really easy for you to get overwhelmed by the fact that, like, things are happening and I don't know if I'm doing anything right. And then once you have your footing in the game and you come back to it, then you just kind of play the game, You just are constantly flipping your timers and you're in the mode of thinking about, like, these are the things that you have to do to play Space Dealer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just a big part of it.
Here's a question. Do you feel like if you played this game more, you would use the sabotage things more?
Probably.
Because I kind of like... I bought it and I was like, I don't know if I really want to sabotage anybody, because they're already, like, dealing with this and trying to figure it out. Like, I don't really want to screw anybody up. And I was like, well, I bought this thing, I might as well use it once. So I used it once. But I don't know, because, like, you're spending that action to slow someone else down that is an action you could be spending on your own productivity.
Sure.
So I don't know that it's necessarily, like, worth it, especially in the context of you having a limited number of actions over the course of the whole game.
Sure. I would say, it's a different mechanic that you could be using in the game. Mm-hmm. If as you're playing, if you notice, like, if you have the option of sabotaging somebody, you notice, like, oh, Rob's doing a lot better than I am right now. Like, messing me up for one action might be all it takes to cause me to stumble and just break my engine, right? So,
would you recommend to people to just remove those cards, like, in certain situations? Like,
I would say, like, in your first plays, yeah, sure, don't bother playing with them. Like, focus on, getting that rhythm of, okay, I produce, and I need to move my ship in these ways. If you don't happen to have the teleporter like I did, which I don't know how many teleporters are in the deck.
I never saw one, so maybe one.
Yeah. I feel like I skipped a big part of that rhythm of the game of learning, like, this is how you need to move your ship, because, like, I never moved my ship. I moved it, like, once to the neutral planet, dropped off things, and then moved it over to Stacia's planet, and then just left it there, and just kept teleporting things across. Mm-hmm. Maybe, like, the teleporter having a range, like, only letting you teleport to the next planet over, so you had to move your ship at least one step.
I mean, like,
I don't know.
I don't know that it's more powerful than anything else. I think it's just a matter of if that's how you manage to get your points, then.
Yeah.
The score wasn't like that.
It's true. We weren't, like, crazy far apart.
Yeah.
It felt super powerful, at least. It felt like I was skipping an integral part of the game that you guys were having to deal with, and I was just like, well, I don't care.
I mean, like, it might have... I don't know if you would have got to a point where it was no longer valuable to you anymore, because, like, it seemed like you filled up all of your neighbor's slots.
Yeah, I filled everything on Stacia's planet, and I was moving over to start filling slots on Aaron's planet.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what was going on your planet.
Very little.
I hadn't assessed over there at all.
Aaron came over to me a couple times, and
yeah,
that was basically it. So.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, is, like, the game is called Space Dealer, and it's got this emphasis on trading, but, like...
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, the whole, I'm going to come to your planet, or I'm going to meet your ship and move cubes from my ship to your ship.
Yeah.
That you were talking about during the rules.
I think there were a couple trades that happened over the course of the whole game.
Yeah.
And for the most part, it just wasn't really emphasized at all.
Yeah. At one point, like, Stacia just gave me 2 cubes so that I could fulfill needs on her planet and just give her points.
Yeah.
And whatever you and Aaron were doing over there.
I got traded with them once.
Yeah. It does feel, at least to me, it didn't feel like I was playing like an interactive game with people. It felt like I was playing a solo game by myself.
Yeah.
Like I was just flipping timers and looking at what people needed and dropping off whenever I could.
Yeah.
And that's one place where like that sabotage brings in, player interaction. It lets you do a thing with each other. And maybe there's a lot of value in that at a higher level of play.
Yeah. I don't know that's like the kind of interaction that I necessarily want from the game.
Sure.
Because it feels like all it's doing is like spending some of my time to waste some of your time.
Sure.
And I don't know that's like...
a good thing.
I mean, it's like I would rather have interaction that is more... I don't know. If the game is called Space Dealer, I want it to be emphasizing the trading aspect of it, and it didn't really seem to be emphasizing that.
More like in Time and Space, you have those like order tokens that you have to fulfill. I know it's. Yeah. I barely remember this too.
No, but like it was the thing where like you had to go to everyone's planets, right? Like you needed to give them your token for scoring on their planet, or vice versa, or whatever it was, and you had to do that.
You had to get rid of like all of one color to score any of that color.
Yeah,
that's what I seem to remember. But yeah, I also seem to remember that you were encouraged in various ways to like visit each planet or to deal with more than one person. Maybe this needed more of that. Overall, though, I would say that this more than
I was gonna say that the re-implementation is a failing. Like, I don't feel like the Time and Space improved the game. It's weirdly just different, using the same mechanics, but they just like completely tore out the card system and replaced it with have a player board with tokens, and it's somehow got less character.
I feel like it felt less customizable compared to the cards to me. Mm-hmm. Like, I felt like I had a lot of options with the cards. Where I remember in Time and Space, it felt very much like we all kind of had the same thing happening. That, we had all basically built the exact same engine by the end of the game and were using it in the same way.
Yeah.
This didn't feel like that at all to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was one of the big strengths here over Time and Space.
Yeah.
What are you going to rate Space Dealer?
I think it's a good game. I'm not too worried about like we're trading it away.
Sure.
And I'm not too like upset about it.
So like 6?
I'd give it a 6. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how often I would play it if I like kept it.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely don't think I would go out of my way to acquire 2 copies to play with 8 people. Like,
having the ability to come up to like 5 would be fine with me. Like, it's kind of unfortunate that it doesn't play like, 3 to 5 in the base game rather than 3 or 4.
Yeah.
3 or 4 is a really limiting number in a game. So having that be the base set number, I think, is hard, rather than having like a 6, 7, 8 expansion.
Again, it's weird that it's like you need 3 people because of what you said about it being like a game where you mostly are doing your own thing and sort of interacting with other people.
It's true. I don't see why you couldn't have played this with just 2 people.
I think it has to do with like the scoring system of the like I get points for delivering, and you get some points as well.
That's true.
And a 2-player game would just be back and forth of like we're just scoring off of each other and like the scores
and getting
would
the
just
exact same points, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So
probably true.
But in a 3-player game, doesn't that just like open up a situation where 2 people will just score off each other and the third person just left out?
Maybe.
And so
I don't know. Yeah. I do not know.
Yeah. But you're right. Like,
seems problematic.
If it went up to 5, like in the base box, I think that would probably be ideal.
Mm-hmm.
And I think 8 would just be kind of nuts. Like, there's no reason why you'd pull together that many people to play this game all at the same time, other than just like we're gonna play this weird sand timer.
Think about how many sand timers would be flipping. All those sand timers.
Yeah, that'd be. plenty of people bumping each other's ships and the sand timers falling over, and you're like, well, that's messed up now. So,
theme-wise for these sand timer flipping games, do you feel like sci-fi or like the kitchen theme is going to be better?
I mean, like, it's the thing I talked about before about how it doesn't make sense to me that you'd be so pressed for time and space.
Sure.
Because in generally speaking, like, space-themed things, like, time is not really the issue. Like, everything's kind of vast and open-ended.
The distance that is there, you can only travel so fast.
Yeah. So I feel like making games where, like, you're in a rush in space... I mean, like, you know, you've got... Space Alert is a game that...
Sure,
like,
but that's more of like...
to
That's like
space.
tactical combat more than...
Yeah.
Like trading. Trading, I agree with you, feels a lot less urgent than...
Yeah.
Than the sand timer kind of feels like.
So, I mean, my expectation... And, you know, it's a shame that we haven't played Kitchen Rush yet, and otherwise we'd have, like, more
things to say about sand timer games.
To say about it, but, like, my expectation is that environment makes a lot more sense for that mechanic.
Sure, I agree. Well, there you go. That's Space Dealer. And it's a deal. In space.
Sell!
The High Council of Planet Frukla greets his highest administrator. The Council is pleased to announce the completion of the mining complexes by our robots. Production should start immediately. The planet Zartok desperately needs some blue crystal ore. Our spaceship is about to return to our orbit to take the crystals to Zartok. Afterwards, we should increase our technology level, or complete the already planned solar satellite, so that the domination of the solar system will be within our grasp. So... It's not clear how
merchanty it is.
Yeah, how gentle it is.
So you did refer to it as an egg flipping game. I don't know if that's what you meant to say.
I meant to say egg timer flipping game.
Yeah. Do you want to redo that, or do you not care?
I don't care.
Okay. You said this is a real time egg flipping game.
Real time egg flipping.
So it might be a little baffling.
Egg flipping. Egg flipping. I say egg flipping. That's how I flip. Fine, I'll talk about it again.